Hi, Warren Macdonald back with you again as we continue this journey towards getting better at navigating change and uncertainty, about developing a resilience practice, right? Remember putting that resilience, depositing that resilience into our account so that we can maximize our return on that resilience. This week, I want to start out talking about the first step or phase, if you like, in our three-phase journey. Remember the ARC, the acronym ARC, A-R-C, but it's a triple C. We're going to start this week with acceptance. Now, acceptance might be the first of these steps or phases, but it's by far the most difficult. I see a lot of people get stuck at this first step right now, which is probably a great time to remind you that if you get stuck at any time through this journey, just remember that this is not a one-way street. Right? All of us can slip back at any time, and look, it's not a huge deal. Just begin again, and which is probably, this may help. Just remember this about acceptance. What acceptance does is it helps us get our minds in alignment with reality. Right? It helps us get our minds in alignment with reality. Now, what would hinder that from happening? Fear. Right? Fear is what loses us, what happens or instigates us losing control over our minds. Now, there are two ways that I know to alleviate fear, and the first one we've already talked a little bit about, but it's simply movement, right? When we move our bodies, what we're doing is we're basically generating, and look, I'm not an expert on this, but I know that we kind of generate the mechanism that fires off the happy chemicals in our brain, the dopamine, etc., and endorphins. It just makes us feel good. It's kind of, think of it as a moving meditation. And hey, if you want to step it up a little bit and kill two birds with one stone, turn it into a run, right? Because then you'll be building resilience at the same time. So just movement, that's the first way. The second is meditation. Now, before you head for the door, you guys, right, I know what you're thinking. Well, next thing this guy's going to have us doing yoga. Now, that's not a terrible idea, but that's not where we're going here. I'm just simply talking about a meditation practice. And if you haven't meditated before, what meditation does is it helps quiet the mind and lets us kind of regain that our mental space. Right? Our minds are talking to us like constantly, all through the day. If you're unlucky, like me, all through the night as well. And especially when fear has got hold. So what meditation is a tool that we can use to reclaim that space. Now, I use an app called Headspace. There's another one called Calm. There are no doubt countless others, but I strongly encourage you to eventually develop a meditation practice, but at least for the next week, just give it a go. Download one of those apps and just give it a go and see what it feels like. I can tell you, if there was one thing that's made a huge, huge difference in my life, meditation. I mean, exercise I was kind of already on top of, but meditation is relatively new for me. It has made a massive difference in quietening that mind so that we can get more into sync with reality. And remember, we can't change what's happening, but we can absolutely change the way that we see it and respond to it. And so to be able to do that, right, our headspace is hugely important. Now, here's another thing. I know a lot of this work is kind of personal work, right? We can only really do the actual work ourselves, but that doesn't mean that we're alone through this, right? Reach out, connect, engage with people at home, at work, whatever, about this process that you're going through, just to have that support, right? None of us are in this alone, and it's important to remember that. So good luck with the practice this week. I look forward to seeing you next week when we move on to the next step or the next phase, responsibility.